Good day. I am Astrologer Lateesha Hinton. Thank you for joining me today. I am talking about the square between Mars and Pluto. This is the last square that we will be experiencing this year between these two powerhouses. So Mars is in his sign, in the sign of Aries, and Pluto is in the sign of Capricorn. And so they started making squares between each other in the summer, in about June. So they squared each other in June, they squared each other in August, first week of August. And now this is the final square as Mars is about to leave the sign of Aries and head into Taurus at the beginning of 2021. And it's very interesting that this square is taking place on the same day that Jupiter and Saturn will be conjoined in the sky. There will be 1 degree difference between them as they are conjoined. And so this is the big talk, that everyone is excited about: Jupiter and Saturn meeting up in the sign of Aquarius, which it is really exciting and really powerful. But as they enter, there is this an additional dynamic energy between Mars and Pluto. So Mars and Pluto represent an energy of explosion, an energy of power, a dynamic of power and control. Um, it is about who is going to win. It is about a fight. Wherever Aries is in your chart, in Capricorn, these are areas in your life where now there is the question and raised energy, a raised fight within you and another, depending on where it is in your chart. And I'm going to go through all 12 signs to talk about where you could be experiencing this energy. So, right now, today, as I'm recording this on the 18th, um, as I'm recording this, Mars is at 22 degrees. Mars is at 22 degrees of Aries, and Pluto is at 23 degrees. So they are just 1 degree apart. So we are already feeling this dynamic in our charts, in our lives, is already happening. And they will be exact on the 21st. So we just have a few days, and then this square will become exact. So, you know, what really happens when Mars squares Pluto is within us, we begin to feel like we want to enter into war, like we are determined to win. Like my daddy used to say, you won't take down. You won't take down. You won't, you just, I need to win for winning's sake. No matter who I crush. Mars and Aries, or whereas Mars and Aries can be really impulsive. So in this particular square, we are dealing with cardinal signs, you know, and we are dealing with Mars and Aries, and we are dealing with Pluto and Capricorn. So these two signs are powerhouses in and of themselves. And Pluto in Capricorn has made his power known since he has been there. And these two coming together for the last time is different than it was before. When they squared before at 22 degrees, it was during Mars retrograde. There was a different energy. Jupiter was still in Capricorn um, in his fall, and Saturn was still in Capricorn. And Mars squared all three of these big dynamic players. But this time we are different. We are different. We have come through the Mars retrograde. We have come through a Pluto squaring Saturn. I mean, Mars squaring Saturn, and we have come through Mars squaring Jupiter, and we are different. We have come through so much. Um, throughout this year. And the way in which we see the world now is not the same as it was early in the summer. When Mars went retrograde, it caused us to go within. It caused each of us in particular areas in our charts where Mars was retrograde, it caused us to look at things more deeply. It caused us to analyze what it was that we have been doing and why. Why were we moving in the way that we had been moving? And in that, we had to come to a decision through all of the squares that Mars was making with the signs, with the big boys in Capricorn, as to why am I doing this? And do I need to continue doing this? And is there a better way for me to do this? Am I winning at this? Am I winning? Am I really winning in this way of moving? And if we were able to ask ourselves these questions and to be honest with ourselves as Mars was retrograde, um, when they when Mars was going through all of the squares with Saturn and Jupiter and so forth. If we were honest with ourselves, then we were able to come up with an answer of truth, even though it may have been challenging for us. Just being honest with ourselves and going within is oftentimes really challenging to do. It's painful to do. It's painful to do. But if we were able to answer the call of spirit and to go within, then now, as we come to this Mars square Pluto, we are not as impulsive as we would have been before. And this is coming from a person who has midheaven at 22 degrees of Aries, Venus in Aries. So, I understand the impulsive energy of Mars. But through the lessons of the squares from all of those big planets in Capricorn, Mars now to us is offering an opportunity to finish up this transit, understanding that we are not puppets to the planets, understanding that we are agents of change, we are agents of truth, we are agents of our own will, and with more wisdom through the Mars squaring Saturn that we have gone through, um, and also the Mars square Pluto that we have gone through, earlier this year. Understanding that um, there are consequences. There are consequences to our actions. There are consequences for us if we allow the energy of Mars square Pluto to rise up within us. And then we take our swords that are associated with Mars and we take the power associated with Pluto and we misuse them. And if we do misuse them, then we now understand uh, what the outcome can be. We understand the amount of loss that can occur, and with an understanding that we may not get this opportunity again to repair or restore what has been damaged if we allow ourselves to be the puppets of Mars and Pluto as they enter into this square. But if we are wise, we can use this dynamic energy to cause something to happen with wisdom. We can push forward with something that we want to accomplish. We can manifest as the magician. We can manifest in our own lives the things that we want to see. But we can do it with wise words. We can do it with strength, and we can do it with honor. I often think about this, the movie The Gladiator, and I think about the words that Russell Crowe was giving out to the crew before they went out to war. And he would say strength and honor. And the warriors who were a part, that he was the general to, they were a part of his army. They would chant back to him, strength and honor, strength and honor. So you can be a warrior and have strength and honor. You can be a person who will fight for what is right and fight to the end, but you do it with strength and honor. And so, with Pluto squaring Mars, uh, there it is an opportunity to use some very dynamic energy. But how are we using it is the question. Are we using it with strength and honor? Are we fighting for what is right? Are we honorable? Are we keeping our word? Are we, um, like my grandmother used to say, she would say, I'm on the side of right, when there were arguments between her children and her son and daughter-in-laws. And of course, typically you could come to your mother and say, he did this and he said that, and what do you feel? And she would say, I'm on the side of right. It does not matter if you are my child. I'm on the side of right. And this is how we win. This is how we use Mars square Pluto to our benefit. If we are standing on the side of right, if we are using this energy that will bubble up within us, this power that is within the sky as above, so below. If it's going on up there, it's going on down here, and it's happening within us. And if we use it to the greatest of our ability, we are using it with strength and honor, and we are standing on the side of right. So others may challenge you. Others may call you into the square. They may call you into the square. They may try you during Mars square Pluto. But how will you respond, or how will you react? Will you react with strength and honor and dignity and wisdom? Will you speak words of truth with dignity and honor to manifest what it is that you want without cutting people low, without leaving other people without dignity, with dishonoring other people and disgracing yourself? Because just because you can, just because you know how to hand someone their hat, just because you know how to use curse words and explicatives in the most powerful ways. The question is, should you do so? Should you do so? Is there a better way? That when the smoke settles, when this transit ends, that you will be seen as a person of honor and a person of dignity, or um, will you have cut down the house? Will you have thrown out the baby with the bathwater? Will you have destroyed relationships and left people feeling as if they are worthless just because you were a puppet to the planets? So this is the question that Mars square Pluto brings to us, and it also brings an opportunity for us to stand up um, with dignity and honor, and to be standing on the side of truth. And so I just wanted to bring this to you, and I'm going to go through the 12 signs. So I'm going to start with the sign of Scorpio today, because I promised that I would. And so if you are a Scorpio rising or a Scorpio sun, um, you will have Aries in the sixth house, and you will have um, Pluto. You will have Mars in the sixth, and you will have Pluto in the um, in the third house. So the third and the sixth for you, Scorpio rising. So this is your communication that you are having with coworkers, or if you have people who work for you, there could be a dynamic that is happening at this time where you are being challenged. There are some moments that are happening that can be really explosive for you, where you are being challenged to um, handle tough situations. There is heat, there is anger, there is frustration, there is misunderstanding, you know, there is confusion. And so there is an opportunity for you, especially with Pluto being in your third house. There is an opportunity for you to cut deeply to someone that you work with, and they may challenge you. Or it could be the other way around. It could be your siblings that you deal with on a daily basis, because the third house has to do with siblings. It could be your siblings or people that you are close with, your uncles, your aunts, people in your community, your neighbors who you deal with on a daily basis, where you may see that there is some altercation. There is an opportunity for altercation. There is an opportunity for frustration and confusion between you. And so it is here that you have an opportunity to operate with dignity and honor, and not allow yourself to be a puppet to the planets. Um, it could also show up, with areas of health, with the sixth house. It could be you receiving some information from from a doctor that could upset you. And again, this is an opportunity for you to breathe, to just breathe and take this opportunity to allow the energy to settle. So we will have this energy. I failed to say this at the beginning, but we will have this energy happening through the first of the year. This square will continue through the first of the year. So we have a couple of weeks to work with this energy, to work it out, and to rise above the occasion, to rise above the explosive energy that is presenting itself to us. And then when we have Sagittarius, for Sagittarius people, you will have this energy operating in the second and the fifth house. So this is um, the area that has to do with your possessions and your possessions and children, your income. Second house has to do with your income. It has to do with the things that you possess. It has to do with how you feed yourself and how you take care of yourself. And the fifth house has to do with lovers, being in a love relationship, and it has to do with your children. So, there could be frustration, an opportunity for dynamic explosions between you and your children over money. Um, it could come up that, someone promised you some money. Your children promise you some money, or you promise them some money, or you may not be able to give it to them. And then, there is an explosion that could happen around this. But again, it is an opportunity for you to rise up and rise above and operate with dignity and honor. And it could also show up with a lover that you have, someone, a sex partner that you have. It could show up in this way, that there is a misunderstanding regarding some money, regarding possessions, regarding um, I thought you were going to pay. You said you were going to pay for this, and I'm always giving. This is how the conversation could go. I'm always the one having to pay for dinner, or pay for the movie. And there could be some kind of combativeness that could come up at this time. But again, this is the time, an opportunity to rise up with dignity and honor, as I said in the intro, and not sink down to a place where you are leaving someone without dignity and disgracing yourself. This is an opportunity to take the time to think about how you can respond and not be a puppet to the planets and not allow this powerful, explosive energy of Mars and Pluto to disgrace you and cause you to dishonor someone else, even if they bring it to you. Even if someone brings to you the challenge, you don't have to. You don't have to get in the ring. You don't have to get in the ring. You can use wisdom. You can use honor to be able to resolve the issue. And that is the highest level of Mars square Pluto. That's the very highest level in which we want to operate. And then when we go over to Capricorn, so this will be in your first and fourth house. So the first house has to do with yourself, with your body. Pluto is there, making deep transformations to your body and just who you are in general. And then making a square to Aries, Mars and Aries in your fourth house. So this has to do with the home, has to do with home life. It has to do with opportunities of that confusion that could come up within the home, and that's anyone who lives in your home, or it could have to do with your parents, your father, could have to do with your mother, anyone within the family dynamic where something could happen. And then so here is an opportunity for contention and frustration and arguments and bitterness to creep up, and it could be so powerful with Mars square Pluto that if it's not handled correctly, if it's not handled with wisdom and dignity, there could be a break in the relationship. Again, we will have this energy lasting with us, and through the beginning of the year. About January 2nd is when this square will break at about 27 degrees. Mars will move on to be about 27, 28 degrees, and that's when this energy we will feel a break from it. But so it's a time, during this holiday season, during the winter solstice or Christmas, is really a time where we want to be cautious with our family members. If you are a Capricorn rising, Capricorn sun, you want to really be careful because um, you don't want to be pulled or dragged down into the explosions that are available at this time that can cost you years to repair. It can cost you years to repair something that you say out of anger and out of frustration with the impulsivity that is a part of Mars by itself, and then added into this is the square, and it can really cause you to say something that you might regret. So during this season, during this holiday season, um, it- you know, it really, really take the opportunity to just step away. If you are at that Christmas party and someone gets drunk and they say something that just triggers you, it triggers you, it reminds you, it takes you there. Be the one, if you can, to rise above it. Rise above the opportunity to say something that is explosive and that will humiliate someone else, um, and bring dishonor and disgrace to yourself. It's a challenge, I know, but it will be something that you will be thankful for after all of the smoke settles and after, Mars moves on into Taurus. You will be glad that you did not allow yourself to be dragged down. Okay, so then we go on to um, the sign of Aquarius. So Aquarius rising, you will have um, Pluto in your 12th house, and you will have Mars in your third house of communication. So we're talking about again, relationships with siblings and hidden things. So could have been some hidden anger that you have felt towards your sibling, and you have not let it out. You just haven't said it because you've just been holding back some frustration, some things that you felt that they were not saying or doing right or communicating properly. Um, and then the square comes along, it intensifies, it perfects, on the 21st, and you let it rip. This is something that could happen, and you could say something to your sibling so harsh and so cruel, or your sibling could say something to you so harshly and so cruelly that it could cause a break in the relationship, or you could hurt them deeply. So at this time, you want to take the opportunity to tap into spirit, before you speak. Don't allow the impulsive energy that is associated with Mars and Aries to rule you. Try not to allow yourself to be a puppet of the planets, and to rise above the energies that could cause you to damage a relationship with your siblings, your neighbors, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles. Any of those could come into play. And then the 12th house, has to really do with the mind. It has to do with secrets. It has to do with those secret feelings that you may have, and then, like I said, they bubble up to the top. But the 12th house allows you to tap into the spirit, to tap into your ancestors, and get advice from your ancestors before it is that you say something that you would horribly regret. Um, then when we move on to Pisces, for Pisces rising people or Pisces sun, you will have Pluto in your 11th house, and you will have Mars in your second house. So the 11th house has to do with groups of people that you partner with, that you network with, people who help support you on your journey, help support you to accomplish what it is that you would like to accomplish, that celebrate you for hard work done. And so you could have an issue. There could be some explosion regarding money. Second house, linked to groups that you are a part of. If you're a part of a church or part of a sorority or fraternity, or any an online group, if you have an online subscription, if you are part of an online meetup group, and then there's could be some issues about money. Some money could have been taken by mistake, and you thought that you had canceled that subscription, but you didn't cancel it, and they take the money. Or if you're a part of a church and you're paying tithes, and uh, or you're giving, and then maybe your credit card was overly processed, or something to do with money or possessions, or something that you have perhaps given to the group, um, or friends, a group of friends, even just a group of friends. Maybe you lent a friend some money, and they were supposed to pay you back, and they didn't. So this is an opportunity for an explosive moment to happen, power and control dynamics to come to the forefront. And as I said in the beginning, we don't want to be puppets to the planets. We want to take this opportunity for the challenge that is before us to be able to handle the situation with dignity and honor. Because when Pluto and Mars are together, it lends itself to give us quick, impulsive reactions. Mars in the sign of Aries, impulsively saying things that we would ultimately regret. And that's the thing that we don't want to do. We want to be able, when the smoke clears, we will have this transit with us for about 2 weeks, until about January 2nd. And we want to be able to step away from this, um, with the relationship intact, if we can have it that way. Sometimes it may need to come to an end, But if we can come to an elevated resolve, if we can get quiet for a day or two and think about what would be the best way to handle the situation as opposed to lashing out, then we will find that we will be the better for it in the end. Then when we move on to, we did Pisces, so now we will move on to Aries. So for our Aries people, you will have this energy in your 10th house and um, your 10th and first. So Mars will be in your first, and you will have Pluto in the 10th house. So this is a very, very powerful, very explosive, impulsive, combative energies that are happening for you with your body, with yourself, and uh, maybe with a boss, 10th house, maybe with your manager. Um, and perhaps you are feeling like they are trying to control you or limit you and how you want to present yourself to the world, somebody trying to dominate you, and your decisions that you have for yourself, and how it is that you want to um, move forward with your career, with your life, with your reputation in the world. And, this can be, again, very challenging, very combative. And if it is not handled with wisdom and dignity and honor, it can cost you your reputation. It can cost you, um, you could come into disgrace. If it is handled, if you come out of the gates, sword swinging and cutting everything in sight, and lashing out and saying things harshly and impulsively, it could cost you your career. It could cost you the thing that you have worked very hard to build, and it could come tumbling down. So, this is an opportunity over the next 2 weeks, through about January 2nd, for you to be able to rise up in dignity and honor, and not allow those who may be in power, may be a manager or someone like that, to cause you to say and act in a way that you will regret later on. There is a way where you can be strong and you can handle a situation and make your point clear without disgracing yourself and without dishonoring another person. And it may take you time to step back and to be quiet and go to the ancestors and to pray or to meditate to find out exactly the best way for you to move forward, so that you can manifest the thing that you want, uh, without bringing disgrace to yourself and leaving someone else without dignity. Okay, and then when we move on to Taurus, you will have this happening for you in the 12th house. You will have Mars in the 12th, and you will have Pluto in the ninth house. So these are the houses of belief and spirituality. And so you could find that you could be having challenges from a professor if you are in school. Something hidden comes out that's frustrating to you, in regards to your professor, uh, and it causes you to have so much anger. They challenge you, they challenge perhaps what it is that you believe. You could be trying to say what it is that you believe, articulate it, and it's meeting a lot of pushback. This could be something that is happening for you. Or you could just be experiencing frustration. Let's say, for instance, you are part of a particular religious group, and as this transit is coming through, there is anger that is happening within you about what it is that the religious group that you are ascribed to what they believe that you have changed. You may have changed a part of what you believe, and so it is frustrating to you. And so you may find yourself getting into arguments with people who are part of your faith, or religious teachers, pastors, preachers. You could find yourself getting into challenges with them. It could also be that you are going on long distance travel, and then there are issues that could be coming up. Something is hidden about the ticket that you bought. You thought you bought a ticket and it was going to, let's say you were going to a resort and you thought the ticket was going to be all inclusive, but there were a lot of hidden fees and there was a lot of information that was not readily available, 12th house. And so you find out that there is a lot more that is not covered in on this trip. And so there's confusion. And so there's anger that could come up within you regarding this. And if that be the case, any of these scenarios, it could be any of this, uh, regardless, you want to make sure that you are not puppet to the planets, that you rise above any type of explosive reactions with Mars in Aries, that would cause you to come into disgrace and dishonor, and that would cause you to leave someone else without dignity. So it could happen that you may need to step back and think about what it is that you want to say, or that you need to say, in order to move things forward in this area, perhaps of long distance travel, or if you're working with a professor, if you're working with a teacher or a preacher, um, and how it is that you can move forward and bring resolution for yourself, uh, where everyone is left with dignity and honor, including yourself. Then, when we move forward to Gemini, you will have this in the 11th in the 8th house. So, Geminis, you will have Mars in your 11th house, and you will have Pluto in the 8th house. So, for you, this is the friends, this is the groups that you are part of, and it is eighth house, this house of trauma, this house of resources, perhaps from a spouse or a partner. It is gifts and inheritances that you could be receiving. And so it could be that there are some issues and confrontation that could come about for you, Gemini, where it relates to, the groups that you are part of, perhaps the resources that you have um, allocated. You perhaps have allocated some resources to the church or to a group, or it could be that you have been on one of those group boards where you do an investment. Eighth house, you could be making some kind of a group investment. My niece was telling me about some kind of group investment that she's a part of, where each person gives $100. It's some kind of Facebook group, and each person gives $100, and you bring in 3 or 4 more people, and that at the end of each week, you get back $600 or $800. This could be some kind of situation like this where you made your investment like this with that group, but then for some reason your money did not come through. You did not get the return that you thought you would on the investment, and then there's some level of confusion and some kind of combustion and anger and frustration that comes up because of it. And so this would be an opportunity for you to rise above lashing out and cursing people out and acting in a way that leaves you in disgrace and leaves other people feeling cut down to size. Because when you do that, you are inviting in very low energy into your life. And not only that, the resolve that you wanted to have, you won't get it. Even if you got the money because you yelled and kicked and screamed and cursed people out, in the end, you've broken relationships and you have left people feeling like dirt. And okay, so you got your money, but the relationships have been destroyed. So that is the main thing that you want to make sure that yes, you speak up for yourself. Yes, you ask questions. Yes, you do your due diligence to make sure that there is a resolve, but there is a way that it can be done with dignity and honor, because we don't want to be puppets to the planets. We don't want to um, allow ourselves to be used by Mars and Pluto to bring destruction to other people. Okay. As it relates to your spouse's resources. This could be linked to your spouse even having an issue. If it's not you, your spouse could be having an issue where he should have received some kind of a bonus, maybe as a reward from the work he has done, 11th house, and then the bonus, the Christmas bonus, didn't come through, or it wasn't what they said it would be. They promised that it would be, $1,000, but they only gave 500, but you needed that money, and so forth. So your spouse didn't get what he was promised. So then it causes, a level of frustration and all of this that can come up. So this is an area that you could see this. Okay, and then so for Leo, where are we? Cancer. I'm sorry. For Cancers, you will see this energy in your 10th and yes, your 10th and 7th house. So Pluto is in your 7th and Mars is in your 10th house. So again, this could be linked to the spouse. This could be linked to your spouse and his employer, and confusion that is going on with them regarding his career. He could be having issues with his boss. Power and control dynamics could be happening where he is feeling like they are trying to dominate him and trying to keep him from moving into a position that he applied for, because they need him to stay where he is. This is a way that this could show up for your spouse. Um, because the 7th house has to do with partners, or it could be that you are in a partnership with someone, and this partnership could be causing some kind of challenge in your reputation in the world. It could be causing some kind of challenge um, in how you are seen, and other people may be questioning the partnership that you have. Why are you partnering with this person? It doesn't make you look good, so forth and so on. So that could be an area for you where there is contention, and where there is someone trying to bring in domination and control. But again, you want to respond to it in a way where you are not being a puppet to the planets, and that where you are making sure that you come out of the situation when Mars moves away from this square, which will be about January 2nd, where you are uh, still have your dignity, where you operate with honor, and where you are not responding in a way where other people are cut down and feeling left low. Then when we go to Leo rising or Leo sun, you will be having this in your 6th house. Pluto is in your 6th house, and Mars is in your 9th house. So this is an area for you where you can be seeing frustration in your daily activities and routines regarding what it is that you believe, or if you are in school, your daily activities could be linked to some level of frustration. Maybe it is that you are getting that PhD or that master's degree, and you are working on your dissertation, and you've turned it in, and then the board that is reviewing your dissertation, they don't approve it, they don't like it, and you've done everything that you know to do. You followed all the instruction, that all the feedback, you've listened to it, and then they still don't like what you've written. Or maybe you're working on your thesis, with your master's degree, same thing, but there's some confrontation or confusion or frustration or dynamic disagreement that you could be having with your professor. Um, and then there's could be a level of frustration for that. And so it's an opportunity for you to rise above saying something that you might later regret impulsively. And if someone brings something to you that is negative and that triggers you and causes you to want to say something that you might regret, it's an opportunity for you to rise above the fray, to respond with dignity and honor, even if you have to be quiet for a day or two in the situation, um, so that when it's all said and done, you will have dignity, the other person will have dignity, and you will have not been a puppet of the planets. Um, this can also show up. The ninth house has to do with your beliefs, your religious beliefs. And so this could show up in regards to what you are doing for your religious beliefs. Are you a person who believes in meditation? Or are you meditating? Is there a frustration about it? What is it that you need to change? What is it that is frustrating you from within that needs to be changed? This is something that can come up, and it doesn't even necessarily have to do with any other people, but it could be from within yourself. What am I doing? Sixth house on a daily basis. What am I doing to maintain my health? Are my beliefs, ninth house, challenging my health? My beliefs about food, my beliefs about exercise. Is it bringing a challenge to my health? Do I need to change what I am doing so that my health can be better? Okay, so this is something that you could see, Leo risings, coming up at this time. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating to change your diet and to change what it is that you eat in your daily activities when you're not accustomed to something. But again, it can be handled in such a way that could be for the greater good, as opposed to being upset and kicking against the change that is necessary. Okay. And then, so when we move from Leo, we move to Virgo. So Virgo rising, Virgo sun, you will be experiencing this in the eighth and the fifth house. So Mars will be in your eighth house, and Pluto is in your fifth house. And so in this square, it has to do with children, fifth house. It has to do with creativity. It has to do with a lover, fifth house. Eighth house, resources, has to do with um, resources and trauma and hidden things, and things that are passionate. So with Mars here in the eighth house, and it could be something that has to do with a lover. And again, it could be tied to money, it could be tied to resources, it could be tied to investments. The fifth house is so much so tied to sex. It's tied to things that we love. It's tied to gambling. It's tied to, so the eighth and the fifth house can be tied to uh, um, speculative investment. So there could be a frustration for you as it relates to um, maybe an investment that your lover made. You could have taken a gamble, with your lover, and went to the casino, and your lover told you to, you planned the roulette table, and your lover said, I promise you I'm gonna win, and they lost all the money. It could show up like this. Same with your children. Your child could be um, receiving a loan from school, but they needed to get the Parent Plus loan and you didn't know about it. And perhaps they signed your name on the documents and applied for the Parent Plus loan. So here's frustration that could come up in this area. And it's very combative, but it is oftentimes related to other people's resources. Again, inheritance, investments, the stock market. That's the eighth, and it can be the fifth because the fifth house is about speculative things. Because it's all about fun. The fifth house is all about fun. It's about the children. It's about the laughter. It's just about anything that you can enjoy is tied to the fifth house, and creativity and theater and acting and all of this type of thing is tied to the fifth house. So, an investment, again, this is what comes to my heart and mind, an investment that was made regarding the children. You invested in them so that they could go to school, but then you find out that they were down there playing. And so now your money is wasted and you owe money, because of whatever it was that your child was doing. And so now you are frustrated and angry and feeling that you've wasted time and money regarding your child, or even regarding a lover. And so when this comes up, it's an opportunity for you to rise above the fray, to make sure that you operate in dignity and with honor, and that you do not become a puppet to the planets, and that you handle the situation, um, making sure that things come to a resolve. You have to take action. You need to take action to make sure that things come to a resolve, but doing so after you have settled your spirit, after you have, perhaps consulted the ancestors or prayed, so that you can say things that will leave yourself and others um, not feeling degraded, not feeling dishonored, because that is what you can have with this type of energy, and this will be lasting. This will begin. We're in the energy right now. It will perfect on the 21st, and it will end about January 2nd. So this is something for you to be aware of. And then when we go from Virgo rising, then we go to the Libra rising. And so for our Libra rising, we're going to have this in the 7th and the 4th house for you. Mars will be in the 7th house and Pluto will be in the 4th house. So this is the love relationships. This is the partnership. This is the home. So this can be, an explosion between you and your spouse, or you and your partner that you live with, and things that are going on in the house that um, perhaps need to change. you know, the way things are being kept at the home, the way things are being maintained at the home, um, and how the home, maybe even, you know, how are the bills being paid, or just things, how are things being maintained, or anything that has to do with the home, anything that's in the home can have to do with parents, but it is definitely tied to the spouse, and so it can bring this level of frustration and explosiveness that could result in the end of the relationship if it is not handled properly. Very dynamic, very, very dynamic. Energy Mars is very impulsive. So, your spouse may say something to you, Libra, and that just uh, causes smoke to come out of your ears. So, this is an opportunity for you to um, take time and not respond impulsively, and not try to dominate. This is that energy that is about domination and control. You're going to do what I said do because I said it. It's that type of energy. But that's not what we want, because every person is free to do what it is that they need to do. And it's oftentimes low self-esteem and low self-worth and fear that causes us to try to dominate another person. But when we have respect for ourselves and respect for others, then we allow people to come and go. You may not want them to go, but we allow them to do what they feel is best for their lives, without causing someone to feel degraded. And I'm not saying that your spouse is going to leave. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that, this is a type of energy that could come up so another person can say, you know what? Impulsively, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm leaving. And if they do say it, as painful as it may be, it is in our best interest to allow a person to do what it is that they feel is best for them to do. And leaving that person with dignity and honor, and keeping the same for ourselves so that we are not in disgrace. And when the smoke clears, and when everything, when the planets, when Mars moves into Taurus, moves out of the square, then it would be, a greater opportunity to maybe come back to another conversation and see what it is that could be worked out, if anything. Um, but definitely, for Libra rising people, the home and partnerships are highlighted. Okay, so I thank you so much for listening. I am Lateesha Hinton with Soul Spread Wisdom. If you would like to have a personal reading with me, I am offering those. You can find me at soulspreadwisdom.com. I am offering 2021 readings, which will be a 1 hour reading. You can book that with me. Very dynamic. We'll go through everything that you can expect. The best times for you to do things this year, the best time to get married, the best time to launch a business, the best time to move, making you aware of challenging energies that are coming up for you in 2021. Not just in a general way like we conduct these general reports, but we will be looking at using ancient astrology, including annual profections, looking at time lord rulers, looking at connections with your personal planets and the nodes of the moon and so forth. And so we will look at all of that. Through the readings that I offer. So if you are interested, you can book again at soulspreadwisdom.com. Please like, subscribe, and share, and leave a comment. I love chatting with you and just exchanging about astrology. And I continue to learn from you, even as you learn from me. And that's what it's all about. We share our knowledge, we share our wisdom, and we grow. And thank you again. I say Ashe, Ashe, Ashe O, Yod Hevave.